We had a story that will be running on OuterBanksVoice.com here shortly. There was a fight Saturday night, a local night spot, and you've already talked. Many of you have talked about the acknowledged drug problem we have here. Now it seems that gang problem is starting to become a serious issue on the Outer Banks, not just in Northeast North Carolina, but on the Outer Banks as well. And this marks the third such incident this year where a gang violence or gangs have been involved in something like this here. But little of nothing's being said by local law enforcement. We know there was a forum earlier last year talking about gang violence, so officer coming from Elizabeth City to talk about that. But it seems that there's not been much else said about gang-related incidents here. Does the county need to be taking a lead on this? Do you feel the county should be taking a lead on trying to address this growing problem?
And we're going to start with you, Kevin.
Absolutely. I think it's the role of our schools, of our teachers, as our principals, our school administrators to get in there and help parents educate the kids and the high school age kids about the problem that's coming up along with gang-related violence. I know that Elizabeth City has had a big problem with gang-related violence for some time, and now it's starting to migrate this way, and I'm sure it's related to drugs, as it tends to always be. I think it's very important that we get in there and we try to educate our kids about the dangers of drugs and the dangers that are associated with that, such as gang violence. You know, as the father of 2 young boys, I certainly don't want to see that come into Dare County and be a part of our school system. I don't think anybody does. So I think it's critical that we get in there at all levels, at the school level, at home, and we educate our kids about the dangers and the potential of gang violence in our local schools, and the dangers it poses to them both physically, and we need to get out there and we need to be in front of this problem before it becomes a widespread problem throughout Dare County. You know, I know that the sheriff has worked very hard to clamp down on some of the drug trafficking and usage here in the county, and he's done an excellent job with regards to that, and I applaud him for that. But we also have a responsibility to get in there as well and work through the PTA and work with our school teachers and our principals and in any other facet we can to educate our kids, make them aware that this is starting to be a growing problem here in Dare County, that they need to be forthcoming with information to their parents, to their teachers, to their principals. If they see something that just doesn't smell right or look right, they need to come forward and let us know, because we can't solve these problems without our kids' input.
10 seconds.
And we need to know that, and we need to make them feel comfortable and not afraid to come to us, come to the teachers, come to the principals, or even the resource officers at schools. So we really need to take a leadership role in this to keep this out of Dare County.
Alan Burris.
Well, if you don't raise taxes, you ain't going to have cops, and you're not going to have teachers or anybody else do it. But let's go back to a realistic thought process. If you don't do neutral revenue anyway, I don't say raise taxes. But the problem with drugs and the problem with gangs are not something that's completely new. It's just beginning to be something that we've become more and more aware of, and there's more of it. We've been working with the Sheriff's Department and with the state of North Carolina, and believe it or not, with the FBI as well. The state has or the county has, to try to put a curve to it and find out where it's coming from, how it's moving in, and what's going on. But again, it goes back to drugs, and law enforcement is a part of the answer, but it's not all. And as he pointed out, we've been working on education already. We have it in every elementary school in Dare County. We have it for a 2-year process there. We have substance abuse directors, people being put in every one that are trained by the BEH or one of the other realms around, or we're having education in already. We're working hard to try to get a handle on that. The other thing is that's got to be done is to figure out the other revenue sources that they're into and figure out how that's working. It's not probably just drugs. I suspect there's human trafficking. There's other things going on. We have a lot of foreign people in here that come in summers and those type of things that are being worked on, and we've been working to look and see how that's all connected. I think that it is a problem. I don't think you put your head under the thing in the sand and say it's not here. It is. We have to work through it, and we will. We'll get the better of it before it gets us.
All right, Warren Judge.
Absolutely, the county should take the lead on it. We have an elected sheriff. The sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer in the entire county. He is the head dog. We have had gang-related type problems for a long, long time. What happened Saturday night was frightful. Dare County EMS had a unit that was caught up in some of it, and it was fearful for the two ladies inside that unit. Russ, I know that you were frustrated earlier today because you're not getting all the information you want to get. I don't get all the information. Alan doesn't get it. The other commissioners, because I think, it always amazes, and I know my dear friend Sandy, who I don't want her to hit me on this when she gets to talk, but I've always wondered why we fight our war on CNN, because this enemy that we're fighting is watching the same TV show we're watching. So maybe there's a time and a place for that information to come out. But I can remember 6 and 8 years ago, Commissioner Richard Johnson and I won't name the section of the county, but we would drive around in different sections of the county, and the people, if we drove slow through the neighborhood, the drug dealers came up to our car and the gangs came up. We had a murder in this county that was gang-related. This goes back a long time ago. So I appreciate, I definitely don't appreciate the gang violence, but I do appreciate that we're getting very well aware. I think the League of Women Voters had a forum on it. I think they were in the town of Kill Level Hills, and it is great that we are all getting involved in this way. Raising our awareness will help our sheriff, will help his investigative team, will help the police chiefs and the town's teams. That's what it's going to take.
10 seconds.
It's going to take that neighborhood watch concept. It's going to take us all looking out for each other and helping them. And when it's 33,000 people, 5,000 crooks, and 100 police, they're outnumbered.
Time. All right. Bob Woodard.
Sam, absolutely. I agree with my fellow candidates. The county should take the lead. No question about it. But I can tell you right now, it starts from the drug level. I mentioned earlier, I just came off in July of 12 months on the grand jury in Dare County, and it's absolutely absurd. We saw one group of people for 5 consecutive months with charges that we sent bills forward to charge those individuals, and those individuals go to court and they have it postponed, and our legal system is backed up months and months and months. It's time we put the pressure on the courts and the legal system to charge these folks, put them in jail, and show that the county's serious and the court system's serious, and we'll get these gangs out of here when we get rid of these drug dealers and solve that problem that way. It's time we put the pressure on the court system, and let's get it done. I will work extremely hard to do that with every avenue, with every bit of passion that I have to try to make that happen. Our court system is out of control when you've got people that are waiting 6 and 7 months to go to court, and then they got charge after charge after charge, month after month after month. Let's do something about it.
All right. Bob Mueller.
Yes, the county should take the lead. And I give credit to Alan and Warren for already taking enormous strides with the New Horizons program and what's been done with drug intervention already. But there's more we can do. There is already cooperative programs between the between the municipalities and the Sheriff's Department doing drug investigation. We need to do more of that. We also need to start publicizing crime statistics, looking at our budgets and saying what's working and what's not working, what's being effective. Crime mapping, GIS. Where are the crimes taking place, so we can make sure that countywide we put resources into those areas. We talk about education, certainly education for children. We also need to talk about education for adults. Prescription drug abuse is the biggest single drug problem in this county, and that's not a problem that's limited to, in any way, shape, or form, limited to kids. It's an adult problem, and we need to help employers identify individuals who may have substance abuse problems so they can get them help. We need to identify neighbors and pharmacy, other folks, so they can identify where the prescription drug problems are, so we can get folks assistance and end the problem. We've got to break the cycle of addiction before we're going to get rid of this problem. But absolutely, the county needs to take the lead and bring cooperation with the municipalities.
All right. Sandy.
I think the county needs to take the lead as far as calling all the jurisdictions together. The county does not have carte blanche over the municipalities. But there's some wonderful things going on in the background. And I was talking to Doug Dowdy the other day, and I believe it's KDH is working with the Dare County Sheriff's Office right now to set up their own crime unit, because the state, when they send evidence off, it's taking up to a year to get it back. And so in the meantime, people disappear and they can't bring the charges. So they're working on a cooperative project right now. I think we need more of those. I think that I know that all the police departments and the sheriff's office are talking a lot, but maybe there needs to be a structure set up to bring all of them together. There's been talk from time to time of consolidating police departments. I don't think that will ever happen realistically, because I don't think any municipality or the county is, well, the sheriff's office is an elected office, so you can't do anything with that, and the municipalities are not about to give up that power. But there are cooperative ways that they can work together and put together a structure to deal with some of these issues. One of the big problems here is we have such a transient population. And there's so many people here. We're not talking about 30,000. We're talking about 250,000. And the children here, particularly I think on the beach, because there is such a transient population, are almost anonymous. And I think when children become anonymous, they're much more susceptible to things. So I think the answer there is we've got to keep these kids busy. We've got to protect our neighborhoods so that they don't turn over into rental areas where you have people coming in and out of the
10
house
seconds.
next door all the time. And really start having some community conversations about this.
All right, Alfred Jackson.
Yes, I think this is very important. When I was in law enforcement, I took gang classes and understood that, and it was a problem back then. Information is the first thing. We have to inform the public. We have some of the best police officers around right here. The county, with their lead and the assistance from Nags Head and Kittle Hills and Kitty Hawk, with these departments together and information, it's going to take money. It's going to take... We don't know when these gang violences are going to happen, and these guys are working 10 hours a day, and then these incidents happen, and we need to diffuse them and let them understand that we support them. If they have to come out and work, that we're going to pay them, and we're going to assist them in their overtime, and we're going to help them get the public informed. I've been a part of these incidents. I have been a part of them in Manio when they took every law enforcement officer on the beach to be there, and that was some pretty bad incidents, and the public don't know everything that happens. They don't have a clue that what everything that goes on. The incident the other night has started to, but it's pretty quiet. A lot of people don't know what goes on around here, and I think information is the biggest thing. We have to inform them. We have the best cops here to take care of the problem. We just have to support them and back them up to let them do their job.
All right, and we're going to come back down to Kevin Connor to begin a 1-minute rebuttal round.
With regards to the drug and gang-related violence issue, you know, it's a sad commentary on our society that we've gotten to a point where violence is so prevalent today in our society, and drugs is much a part of the root of that as any other problem I can think of. It's very important for us as parents, as neighbors, as community-spirited individuals to be out there, and you know, just because it's someone else's kid doesn't mean that we shouldn't get involved, because all of this comes back. And potentially if we get out there and we help someone else, then potentially we can keep them from going down a path of self-destruction. Last evening, I had the opportunity, or for lack of a better term, to meet a young man who happened to come into the hotel where I work.
Okay, 10 seconds.
And he was bloodied and bludgeoned, and he had just come from rehab in Norfolk and was right back on alcohol. We need to really work as hard as we can to keep these people off of substance.
Time.
The best thing we can do is to work with them.
Alan Burris.
Yeah, I mean, when we get looking at it, BEH, I met with some of those ladies last week, and in eastern North Carolina, but Dare County and the coast particularly, the #1 substance that is abused has been alcohol, has been replaced by pills now, so that pills are your number one substance that's being abused in our county as well as the other counties around. And it's a continual problem, and it shifts from opiums to whatever, and we'll have to continue to work on it, and we have. And I think that as we move forward, again, we've got to have a many-faced attack on it, and we're working with education, we work with the police force, and we have to work on the other avenues of getting people the help they need. Because if we don't identify the
10
real
seconds.
problems, we've got problems. And about just one thing I'll add real quickly, about 65 to 70% of substance abusers have mental problems.
All right, time. All right, Warren Judge.
Yes, the county is taking the lead on this. But they're working with 6 wonderful towns. I mean, the police departments, everybody works together. And this goes on behind the scenes. You don't see this. People talk about consolidation, but their services are so, they help each other out, they transfer information. We got some great crime scene investigators in Killable Hills and Nags, and in particular along with the county. We are exploring the possibility of setting up our own lab here. It's an expensive process, but it would address Commissioner Woodard's issue about why is it taking so long to go through the court system. It takes some months to get information and evidence back. And you know, one of the earlier questions, the first question was about the county buildings. We have a county courthouse with some courtrooms in it, and those courtrooms are dark, usually more than they're light.
10 seconds.
And the reason is we need the state to give us more judges. We need the district attorney to have more people on his staff. We can have more court sessions if we had the personnel to have them, because we certainly have the space.
All right, Bob Woodard.
And there obviously, I know the county's worked very, very hard, and I know the sheriff's department has, and I know they're working diligently with all the towns, and they're doing everything humanly possible that they can to solve this issue. But I go back to having served on that grand jury, and I see the problems as the court system and our legal system. Whatever it takes, we as citizens, we as elected officials, we as business owners, our community, everyone in this county, we need to take every single step that we humanly possibly can to keep the pressure on the courts and the legal system so that we can get some of these cases solved and put these people away where they belong
10
and
seconds.
send a message to those that are out there.
All right, Bob Mueller.
Government should prioritize it, but government can't solve it. We can only solve it amongst ourselves with the community. There's a very, very good group working on this problem, Dare CASA. They are having a fundraiser on October 23rd. I believe it's a breakfast. If you visit my website, electbobmueller.com, you'll go to Your Questions. I'll post a link to their website and the information about their website, about their fundraiser. Get out, support Dare CASA, help them work on the community side while the county government takes the lead on the government side. Thank you.
All right, Sandy Siemens Ross.
We have fundraisers for everything imaginable in Dare County, everything from cats to kids to old people. Maybe we need a fundraiser for a lab down here, and then we need a fundraiser to hire a lobbyist in Raleigh to work on the court system. I agree with everyone here. We don't have enough courts. We don't have enough in the DA's office. There's so many problems there. You could go out and make 2,000 arrests tonight, but it means nothing if you can't get them through the court systems and off the streets. And by the time they get around to them, they can't find them. We have some really serious problems, and so it's one of those things we're just going to have to look at and prioritize and try to figure out where is the money going to come from, because everything's expensive, even lobbyists. But then we always have the public.
10 seconds.
And nothing is better than the public in front of your legislators in Raleigh.
All right, Alfred Jackson.
One thing that we need to do, law enforcement they've tried, but there's a lot of people that don't want to listen to law enforcement. They think that when they say gangs, they're laughing and they're jokes, so we need to educate people in school. We need to educate our criminals that what they're seeing, because they're the ones getting trapped up in it. They may not mean to. They're on drugs. They're not thinking normal. Understand and educate them of what is going on, why these people are coming in and feeding off of them. So again, I say education is the biggest part. We're working on it. We just need to find other avenues. The drug problem here touches way more people than anybody can understand. The people that it touches understands, but it goes way deeper than that. People are ashamed. They don't want to admit that there's drug problems in their family. It touches each one of us. So education is, again, something that we need to work on.